Hello everyone. My name is Aryan Gudeti, and today I will be explaining and talking about SSL encryption. So, many of us might have heard about SSL or read SSL in many of our web applications. So, SSL full form means Secure Socket Layer. It is an encryption cryptographic protocol that is used in modern websites and web applications for facilitating secure communication over the internet. So it is always used for an encryption connection between a web server and a client and a client, and a server and a server. So anything, vice versa. So it is used for safeguarding sensitive information like login information, payment details, and it prevents unauthorized access. So, by encrypting data, SSL provides a layer of protection against cyber threats, making it an essential component of online security. So, we know about HTTP and SSL. What is the difference? We have seen HTTP on top of our URLs before, which is appended. Before any URL starts, it is what is there. So sometimes it is HTTP, or sometimes it is HTTPS. So what is the key difference? So HTTP and SSL play different roles in web communication. HTTP is an application layer protocol which facilitates and transfer of data on the web, but lacks inherent security features. So there is no security, there is no any encryption which is going on in HTTP protocol, where you can actually be third party attackers can directly view the information or details which you are using, or using to communicate with the web server. So data is transferred by HTTP is unencrypted, susceptible to interception, and posing a privacy risk to privacy and data integrity. So in contrast to SSL, cryptographic protocol addresses these security issues from an HTTP protocol. So by it encrypts the data using the transmission, provides mechanisms and authentication, and ensuring integrity of the exchange information. So all of these are essential for preventing any loss of data or any privacy invasion. So SSL also establishes a secure connection. So in where networking, we always see a connection has to be established. In any application, we see a connection has to be established. So SSL establishes a secure connection. So through a process known as SSL handshake, and handshake is also another networking concept which we know, during which the client and server agree on encryption standards and encryption methods which they would use. So the use of SSL certificates is issued by certificate authorities. So these certificates are essential for identifying the degree of security provided by the website. So yeah, and the amalgamation of HTTP and SSL, which results in what we know today's world, which we know as HTTPS. So the S represents secure, or security, or SSL. So that's what the main difference is between HTTP and SSL. So it's the combination of both data transfer with the robust security features, making essential for safeguarding information on the internet. So this is the how the SSL sits in the network layers. So it is above the TCP and IP. SSL record protocol is just one of the protocol of total SSL encryption. So yeah, so SSL socket layer protocols, SSL record protocol, handshake protocol, chain cipher spec protocol, and alert protocol. These are four different protocols which are come under SSL. So secure record protocol. Secure record protocol provides two services to SSL connection. So one is confidentiality and message integrity. So in SSL record protocol application, and the data is divided into small parts or fragments, you can say. The fragment is compressed and then encrypted by any message authentication codes, which we have done in our syllabus. So which is generated by any algorithm like SHA, MD5, DES. Sometimes DES is also used. So, and after the encryption is done, MD5 and message digest is appended to the encrypted data. And after the encryption of data is done, in the end, SSL headings are appended to the data. So this is like an identification for the for the website. And next comes the handshake protocol, which we are all very familiar with. Handshake protocol is nothing but to establish a connection between any two entities. So establish sessions also, which is also called session. So this protocol allows the clients and server to authenticate each other by sending series of messages. So these messages are very simple messages which both the entities agree upon. So what these are, there are like different phases. So phase one is like client and server send hello package to each other in this session. So after this in this session, cipher, suit, and protocol versions are exchanged for security purposes. So basically, they get to know each other's protocols or encryption algorithms, the other devices, so they can agree upon a common encryption protocol, encryption method they could use. So then in phase two, server sends his certificate or security purpose server key, and so the server and server 2 ends the phase 2 by sending a hello packet with all its personal private key, I'm sorry, public key information. And then the same thing in phase 3, client replies to the server by sending his certificate and client exchange key. So keys are very important in the establishment of connection. So in phase 4, chain cipher suit occurs, and after this handshake protocol ends. So here is a diagram where the client sends a server a hello request and the server replies with it. So with all the data, with all the information about the encryption algorithms they know. And then after that, the server sends a certificate and it's a server key exchange. And the same thing is done by the client in the phase 3. And after this, server change spec, a cipher change spec is occurred and the handshake is finished. So the establishment of connection is fully done. So, and then come chain cipher protocol, like we have seen. So this protocol uses SSL record protocol unless handshake protocol is completed. So the SSL record output will be in a pending state. So after the handshake protocol is converted into a current state, pending state is converted into pending state. So it's just like a showing what state is the connection in, or where what process is it, like how is the handshake protocol done or not, is a representation of that. So chain cipher protocol consists of a single message which is 1 byte in length and can have only one value. So the protocol's purpose is to cause the pending state to be copied into the current state. So we have alert protocol. Alert protocol is so we have protocol, this protocol is used to convey SSL related alerts to the peer entity, so to the users basically. So each message consists of 2 bytes. One is the level byte and one is the alert byte. So in this we have two levels. So we have a warning level of 1. So this warning level has no impact on the connection between the sender and the receiver. Some of them are some of the alerts are like uh, bad certificate error, no certificate, expired certificate, certificate unknown. When some other unspecified issues arose in the processing, then rendering it is unacceptable. So then close notified notifies that the sender will no longer send any messages in the connection. And unsupported certificate, this type of certificate is received, is not supported. Certificate revoked is in the revocation list. So these are some of the alerts which where the connection is possible, but the due to the certification rendering processes and other reasons or related to the certificates, this is the protocol or this is the level of alerts used. And next is the fatal error level 2. So this alert breaks when the connection between the sender and the receiver will be stopped and cannot be resumed. Some of them can be restarted, they're like by refreshing the page or something like that. So handshake failure, so the sender is unable to negotiate with the server due to unacceptable security parameters given options are available. So basically, their encryption algorithms are not common. There's no common encryption algorithms which they can agree upon. Then you got decompression failure, where decompression function fails, receives inappropriate input. So illegal parameters when the range is out of the or inconsistent with other fields. So bad record MAC when an incorrect MAC is received, and an unexpected message when inappropriate message is received. The second this error will be popped up. So then the second byte, the alert protocol describes, the alert describes the type of failure or error which is occurred, and the level describes which level, fatal error or the normal error. Now, SSL encryption techniques. So it uses two techniques. One is the public key encryption standard, so which encrypts and decrypts certificates you during the SSL handshake. So encryption keys are created in pairs, which we know in many algorithms. It is a public key and its associated private key. So data, when encrypted with a public key, can only be decrypted with a private key. So this means data is readable by the intended recipient only. So yeah, whoever has a public key will be able to read the data from that entity. So data encrypted with a private key can be decrypted only by public key. So this means the authenticated is assured to originate from the owner. So yeah, when it is encrypted by a private key is only with the entity and not with any of the other users. So it is sure that we can say that data has come from that particular person. And when in the previous case, encrypted with the public key can be decrypted only by the private key. So when you are sending a data to the particular person, only that person will be able to read the data and nobody else. So that is a public key cryptography. And the second method is mutually agreed symmetric encryption standard, such as DES, we know, or triple DES. So is used in data transfer following after the handshake. So handshake is used to establish the connection, and after that, DES or certain algorithms or cryptographic algorithms are used for the data transfer. And then comes and in public key encryption used by works in this following steps. When the certificate is created, an algorithm based on two random numbers is created. So creates a private key and a public key for the certificate owner. The private key and public key are related to each other, so such that, say, if not feasible to deduce the value of the private key from the public key, nor the public key from the private key. So when we are encrypting with the private key, we should be able to decrypt with the public key, and the same thing in the reverse. When you are encrypting with public key and decrypt with the private key, vice versa. So the private key is stored securely with the user and not made known to anyone but its owner. So the public key can be made freely available to any user, but no risk of compromising the security of its private key. So even if both are related to each other, public key and private key, they should not be able to predict the other keys using the one. So it should not be that way. And information encrypted using the public key can be decrypted only with the private key, as I said. Information can be encrypted by any user, sent securely to the holder of the private key, and a third party user cannot use the private public key to read the information. So yeah, even vice versa, you can't use it to in the encryption. Yeah, as in third point, information encrypted with private key can be decrypted only with public key. So only the holder of the private key can encrypt the information that can be decrypted with the public key. So third party cannot pose as sender of the information. So yeah, there are two-way security we can achieve with SSL here. Then some of the features of SSL here. The advantage of this approach is that the service can be tailored and specified. So here, according to the user or according to the web application need or web site needs, it can be changed or tailored to its specific needs. And secure socket layer was originated from Netscape, which is a very reputed organization. So SSL is designed to make use of TCP to provide reliable end-to-end secure service. So TCP is also a well-known protocol in the networking world, and this is a two-layered protocol. So these are some of the features of SSL. And now three levels of SSL certificate. So yeah, since we have talked about certificate before, so although SSL and TLS is same as SSL, but it's like a more secured version of SSL, more upgraded or updated version of SSL. So that's TLS is which is being used, but it's a base came from SSL itself. So they offer a secure solution for communication security. Businesses may extend need for authentication to provide increased protection for sensitive data. Organization can offer business level authentication. So as I said before, based on the level of requirements and security, you can opt for better certificates and higher security standards. So here, three different certificates are there, and the first certificate is domain validation certificates. So this is the most basic SSL certificate, so which requires the organization to prove it controls the domain name. So some organization can have a website, so and that website, to make it not a random website, it should be tied to some organization, and it so that this certificate is used and does not confirm the identity of the organization. So the organization can be doing something else and the website can be providing some other service. So it is not entirely related to each other. An organization validation certificate. This requires the business to prove it controls the domain and the company is legally registered as a business. So yeah, here it become involves some business, some in this cyber security. This thing, it involves some business world or business terminology, which, so because half the websites which are on the web, which are always owned by, I mean, most of them are owned by some of the other organization controlling them, providing some services. So this kind of certificate will give some sense of, security to the users, that this is a, certified and trusted domain and you can use it, and it is owned by the organization which is also registered for a particular business need. So the authentication is level is preferred for public facing sites that collect data from the users, such as we have Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Amazon. So these kind of organizations and their websites. Now the third one is extended validation certificates. Is the most secure TLS certificate. In addition to proving the ownership of the domain and the business name or the company name, these certificates include additional verification steps to protect the data from being tampered. So now we get into the characteristics of SSL. So the SSL certificates has many important characteristics that make it a reliable solution in modern world for online transactions or web browsing or any other need. So encryption, the SSL certificate use encryption, many encryption algorithms to secure the communication between the website or the service and its users. This ensures that the sensitive information such as login details, payment information, credit card information is protected from the intercepted or from being intercepted or read by unauthorized parties. So as we have seen, public key and private key and SHA, Mac, these algorithms are used to protect the data so nobody else can read them. So then you got authentication. Authentication, this is also an important characteristic which is very much required. So that verifies the identity of the website or the service, ensuring the users are communicating with the intended party and not with a imposter or any other, because in this modern world we have many phishing websites. So using checking the SSL certificates are sometimes very important, or it's better to reconfirm that whatever we are using is actually from the trusted owner or the website organization. So this provides assurance that users that their information is transmitted securely and to a trusted entity. And then comes the integrity of the data. So the SSL uses message authentication code, like I said. So there's no changes in the message which is being sent during transmission. So this ensures the data being transmitted is not modified in any way. So it preserves its integrity. And a non-repudiation. This is another main aspect in cybersecurity, where a person who has received a message or a data and claims that they have not received. So to prevent this, a non-repudiation is a very important characteristic. So it provides a non-repudiation of data, meaning that recipient cannot deny having received the data. So this is important in situations where authenticity of the information needs to be established, such as an e-commerce transaction. So transactions are a very highly important aspect in the web. So there could be a chance of you losing money if these characteristics are not present or built into the websites or the any transaction based websites. So, and public key and cryptography, like we have seen, SSL certificates are public key cryptography for secure key exchange between the client and server. So this allows client to securely exchange encryption keys, ensuring that encrypted data can only be decrypted by intended recipient. If sending the data and you want a particular person to only the particular person to decrypt the data, that is possible, and you can receive the data only from the particular person. Only that is also possible using public and private keys in the web. So then comes session management. Session management, as you've seen, allows for management of secure sessions. We have seen the handshake protocol, which is for making a session. So when the connection is made, and you can resume, pause or stop the session and allow for the resumption of secure sessions after interruption. So this reduces the overhead of the handshake protocol are being implemented again or being processed again after which increases the processing time of the websites. So this helps in reducing the time and also for accessing the website in a much more in a secure way, faster and reliably. And then comes the certificates, which are discussed by the CAs, Certificate Authority. So SSL are issued by trusted CAs who are responsible for verifying the identity of the website or the service before issuing the certificate. This provides a high level of trust and assurance to users that website or the service they are communicating is authentic and trustworthy.